This before, but I'm going to say it again. You know something is a lie by power if it requires a Herculean effort to hammer it in to make it true. If it takes billions of dollars, the government, the military, the police, all the power in the world to make something true and happen, it's because it's a lie. The truth is naturally embraced by people the way if you one of those child games where a circle goes in a circle, a square goes in a square, and just effortlessly fits. A lie by power requires all the technology, all the military, all the government, all the money, and all the power to hammer something over and over again until it becomes true, and it never fits as well. When you see a narrative society have those qualities, it's taking a Herculean effort to make it real. That means it's a lie. So me being an oppressive Nazi that hurt people meets this characteristic. Me living my life naturally after recovering as a child from my breakdown. Everyone I worked with who didn't know thought I was a helpful person who cared about people, which is true. It is what I am. And I had CNAs tell me stuff like, I feel bad for you. Like they treat you really badly and they don't give you resources because my bosses knew and they were helping these billionaire orbiters, right? And so they would voluntarily, spontaneous offer to help me out, like be my secretary. Because I'd get like, I worked the weekends and sometimes we get hammered by 5 admissions and I would have no help. And they would see me struggling because they could see I cared and they would voluntarily take up extra work to help me. But then once they got to them and they told them lies about me, then it was a complete 180, right? When you see that profile, it means it's a lie. And that's why someone made a point on Blue Sky regarding trans women. That's why they are doing so much to block access to trans care because their narrative that motivates the lie that motivates all of this is God made you a man, that you are defying God, you are defying my religious reality by becoming a woman, right? And the fact that there are intersex people and many people assigned male at birth are actually like their karyotype has two X chromosomes and they have female qualities and their brain is slightly feminized. Or even people with born male at birth who have a typical 46XY karyotype. Some of them may have other intersex conditions or environmental factors that feminize their brain. The most extreme form of which is something like congenital complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, where because there are no androgen receptors in the brain, their brain develops completely female, and so does their body. But genetically, they have the karyotype of a male. They just lack the hormone sensitivity to ever respond to any male hormones. And so these people will develop completely female. The only tell that they have a male karyotype is that they are tall, as the Y chromosome is responsible independently for height. This is exactly why trans women will always be taller on average, and trans men will always be shorter on average, provided they have a karyotype typical for their sex at birth, right? Of a Y chromosome increases height. And you also see this where there are karyotypes where somebody is male at birth, but they have two Y chromosomes. So they develop male, but they're particularly tall. But one Y will increase height. That's the only thing a Y chromosome always does. Not even something like testes differentiation. There are genetic atypicalities where you could have a Y chromosome and not develop testicles. And the nature of what the gametes differentiate into is what determines sex. I mean, truly in a biological sense. So if you have testes, you are male. If you have ovaries, you are female. If you have neither, which is possible, like Turner syndrome. Turner syndrome is a karyotype where a human is created with only one X. They did not get any sex chromosome other than one X, and they have no gonads. So this person is intersex with no real sex, but they will be labeled as female because what causes maleness in the differentiation of testes is the Müllerian hormone and the Y chromosome. But even having a Y chromosome, you may not differentiate testes if you have a defect in that gene that causes that on the Y chromosome. So you could have an XY karyotype but have no testes, and you could have a single X and have no ovaries. You just have no gonads, right? You have what's called a gonadal streak, meaning the primordial tissue that would have become testes or ovaries just never developed because of this genetic atypicality, this intersex condition. But we label these people are called Turner syndrome women because they will just default develop into external female, but they will never go through any puberty. They have no gonads. They will never make sex hormones. And on a biological sense, they're really not female. Just as much as a trans woman, in a biological sense, is not female. It's neither a Turner syndrome woman who have a single X or a CIS woman who has a male XY karyotype. I'm saying male and female karyotypes in the sense, provided no other genetic conditions, if you have that karyotype, you will develop testes and be male or ovaries and be female. There's really no, in a strictly biological sense, there's really no such thing as a male karyotype and a female karyotype, but it's kind of thing for 99.9% of people. If you have an X or Y, you will develop testes. If you have two X, you will develop ovaries. There are intersex conditions where that is not the case. So that's why I'm calling these male and female karyotypes. In a biological sense, it's really not true because only the presence of your gonads. And like I just said, there are cases where you could have a Y chromosome and not develop testes, or you could lack a Y chromosome, have X, but just not develop ovaries because of other things going on. Anyway, the foundational idea that motivates a lot of these true transphobes is God made you male, and they're defining this by at birth a doctor looked at you and said you were male. Not like any true medical definition. And you cannot defy that or you're a sinner. And the reality of the thing that it's a little tricky. There are some male at birth people who have two X chromosomes, and they are like half male, half female. They have a lot, like, for example, a lot of these males who have XXY, even though they develop as male, it's very common for them to have a feminized brain and have a lot of female traits. The arm bend thing, they have that because they have two X chromosomes, and their body actually developed kind of intermediate. Not enough that a doctor can clock something wrong at birth, but they do have many, and many of these people may go on to be a trans woman, and they'll never, unless they get a genetic test, they'll never know they have two X chromosomes, and they're intersex, right? And then there are cases, like I said, where androgen insensitivity, right? We know of complete androgen sensitivity because of the remarkable to us outcome that you could have a male karyotype but develop completely female, just a tall woman who has testes. CIS women are male because they have testes. They don't function, and they're because of their condition, and they're retained in their abdomen, but they are technically male. And we consider that remarkable. And nobody would say these people are male as we would define it, like male as in a man. But they are biologically male, and they develop completely female. But what you don't know is androgen sensitivity is a spectrum. And there are milder, partial androgen sensitive syndromes where you could be born and maybe the doctor doesn't think your pee-pee looks weird, so you're a baby boy, but you actually have this problem where you don't respond to androgen properly. And so you may develop a gender and sexuality that is intermediate or polarized to the opposite sex. But in reality, you have intersex. And then there are cases where you don't have any of that, but just because of environmental factors or random or whatever, your brain is feminized. And so you are identifying more with the woman gender role, right? And many of these people who have this biological piece where they're intersex and they don't know it, or they had a feminized brain despite not being intersex, they are more likely to transition young, like as a teenager, and they're more likely to pass very well because in their brain, they are in ways a woman, like meaning the thing that makes, from a behavioral social standpoint, their brain is like that extensively. Maybe not completely like a cis woman, but enough that they blend better in the woman role and they feel that about themselves. And if they transition young and stop male puberty, you won't know that they were born assigned male at birth. Like, that fucks them up because that challenges their narrative. Whatever the doctor said at birth is what God said. You are male or female, and you're sinning. So that's why they have to leverage all the power of society, all the power of the government, the fucking police, and the prison system to make it fucking true. These people, this small group of people who could get their medical issue treated and blend in as a woman, now they can't. And now, if they go through male puberty completely, they'll always be more clocky. And then that rests assured their narrative. This is a man pretending to be a woman. God made them a man, and they decided to sin and do this fucked up shit that's against Jesus and God, what the doctor said at birth. And I can see it. And that's why they're doing this. That's a big reason they're doing this, because the foundational narrative, my religion is true, my aversion to you is science, my ignorance is science, and I don't like the fact that there are people who challenge my narrative. And if I met them on the street, I would never know they were assigned male at birth. So I gotta change that. And I'm gonna get the government, the police, the fucking military, billionaires, all they're gonna make it true for me. And now I never have to worry about anyone challenging my narrative that God made you male or female. And this is, and God's word is redundant with what a doctor said when you were born. And all is right in the world. That's a huge reason they're doing this. Someone said that, and I agree completely. When you see billionaires, the power of society controlling everything to make something true, it means it's a lie. If things were allowed to continue naturally, there'd be a challenge to their fake narrative. And that's true of my torture, and it's true of what they're doing with trans people. Yep. They call me a transphobe. I'm not a transphobe, but there are real transphobe. Usually they're religious, and they kind of use religion to whitewash their innate bigotries. They always pay attention to the parts of their religion that are congruent with ignorance and never the parts that aren't, like feeding the poor or not judging. They only like the part where they're like, man should not lie with man, because that just helps their, I don't like that fag shit either. And they cherry pick the parts that make them feel superior for no good reason, but how they were born. You haven't been born straight and cis, right? So you never had to think about these things, unlike me and other people. And these oppressors also call me a transphobe. I used to always, they cherry pick and lie, just like these people do, right? And that was never me, right? Anyway, yeah, that's why they're doing this. They're doing it because the lowest denominator of America is being paid in having their backs pat. Your ignorances are real. They're true, while they take all their money and their supports. And there's a lot of collateral damage, like me and trans people. Yeah, they got trans people punching me and hating me. And I look at it like, we're both victims here. Like, both of us were used by billionaires to create a culture war where they're the heroes getting the bad people. And they're selling this lie to different audiences. And the same people paying you fuckers to hate me are also paying to scapegoat Hispanic day laborers and trans people. And you don't see that because you're kind of a MAGA yourself. And it's the same thing. Yeah. So, you're punching me. We're both victims here of the same process. The culture war must have victims. The culture war has to have things to hate so they can pose themselves as heroes while they fucking nuke society, steal from the bottom, and all you have to show for it is your hate. And they didn't give you enough to make this worth your time. I know they didn't, because that shit was only $150 million.